You guys have seen me do a lot of videos on YouTube and a lot of transitions, but none of them was ever for subscription, right? And I don't typically do videos like this because I don't want to knock anybody in the audio space, in the audio community that we're all a part of. It's very hard to push forward, and that's whether you're doing music or you're part of a company. The music industry is a tough place to be in. But Antelope Audio, I do need to speak to you guys today because I'm somebody that uses Antelope Audio in my studio. I have the Antelope Orion 32 HD, 32 ins and outs, internal routing, and all that stuff. And I think that's great. It's the only thing that does what I needed to do in the studio. I do have problems with the driver sometimes, but that's not what we're gonna talk about today. What we are going to talk about is the fact that Antelope has just released a clone of the CL1B. They're calling it the A41B, and this, unlike any other clone of the CL1B, offers recall. They found a way to have the internal mechanics recall your settings from other sessions. And I think that that is amazing. It is a great step forward. If you're bringing back gear from a long time ago, it's great to add new features that it didn't have before. But the problem with this is it is behind a paywall. It is a feature that you are going to be using that you have to pay a subscription fee for. And this is a big no-no in my opinion. I don't think that we should get in the headspace where we want to start having hardware come into the world of audio and people are expecting us to pay to just use the features of the thing that it already has. So I guess by the end of this video, you guys will know my thoughts on this, and I probably shouldn't say any of this just in case anything happens to that unit and I need to get it repaired. I don't think they're gonna help me out, but whatever. I was serious about hitting that sub button, by the way. I have not liked the concept of this for a long time. People ask why I don't use universal audio. And it's not that I don't think they have great plugins. I do think they have great plugins, and it's cool that they're native now. But back when they were using their Apollo units and you had to use them for DSP, it was kind of the idea that I didn't want to get tied up into a system where I have to pay for something to use something else. And I wasn't a fan of that idea. I don't mind subscriptions though. Let me keep that clear, because I like Netflix. I like Hulu. I like the Slate bundle. I like a lot of different things that are subscription based. But when we get into the world of hardware, we're buying hardware so that we don't have to deal with these issues, so that we don't have to be concerned with updates or whether the software is going to work. Because what happens when that software is no longer supported and you bought a hardware unit? Now, if that thing goes down, you've spent, and how much are they charging for this? They're charging $3,000 for this CL1B clone. Pretty sure the Warm Audio one's around $1,200. The Heritage Successor, I think, is a little under $2,000. And the original is $3,850 at this point, I think. I remember it used to be $3,450. But yes, charging $3,000 for a piece of hardware that is originally less than $4,000, that is a staple in the audio community. It's kind of like saying, oh, I made a clone of the Distressor, which is like, what, $1,400 now? And I made it for $1,100. Well, at that point, why would I not just get a regular Distressor because it's going to maintain its value? But there's other issues to talk about with this. We think of things like the Tesla. When you buy a car and it has full self-driving, but you can't unlock that unless you pay an additional $12,000. What is the future in the audio world if we start getting behind this mindset? Because to be fair, subscription does make sense for software companies. If you want something to have updates forever, and you know the Mac, you got the M1, then it's M2 and M3, and they're switching between stuff all the time, and then you have Windows updates, and you have to make sure that the one thing that people bought 10 years ago still works on that new piece of software. Yes, in that world, I understand why subscription works. But if we're dealing in the world of hardware and you have features, how about let's do something innovative and say, hey, we're going to charge this price for this thing, but we're going to make it so you're going to have updates forever. We're going to help maybe kind of pull you into our ecosystem a little bit. And we're not gonna charge you guys for that because we wanna give you something that the original unit didn't have. Otherwise, just buy the original unit. It's kind of like when BMW is making you pay to use the heated seats in the car. It's like, at what point do we just say, we have to boycott anything like this, where they think that we're going to do it, so they keep on coming up with the idea for it. I don't know what marketing team was sitting behind thinking, I know what, we're gonna make a CL1B that's gonna cost 80% of what the original one does, and we're gonna add a feature, but we're gonna make people pay for it. This is something I like to call the pricing paradox, right? Because once something is close enough to the original price, it never makes sense to buy the clone version of it. And that's why companies like Audioscape have managed to not just stay in business, but have pushed past the point of other clone companies. It's kind of like them and Warm Audio. I would say Audioscape probably makes the most faithful recreations of stuff and does it for what, half the price, sometimes a third of the price? You can't beat it. But when you have something that's that close in price, it just doesn't make any sense. Now, we have to talk a little bit about Antelope's track record. Why would somebody buy something like this knowing that their drivers are consistently known, possibly the most infamous in audio, for having driver issues, compatibility issues, stability issues? And then you have to kind of get into the customer service concerns that they've had over the years. What would make you think that people are going to put their faith in your product when you haven't established that faith already? And I'm a customer of them. They did send me an interface one time. It was the Zengo, and it's a cool little interface, and I think that it was great. I didn't have many issues with that one, but this guy, I'm not gonna lie, this interface, there's sessions sometimes where I have to unplug it, plug it back in, reset the whole thing. My routing matrix goes completely down. I have to reset my routing matrix. It has a lot of issues, but it sounds great. Why not do something to restore the faith in the people that trusted and bought your products in the past, instead of kind of ruining that connection that you have with the people that stuck with you even through the issues? But that's just me. And the other thing, like I said, is how much value will something like this hold over time? And if you were to ask me, I'm going to say not much. Because who's going to want to buy something that's near the price of the original, that you're going to have to keep on paying on? And I'm curious what it's like to transfer ownership from one person to the next and make sure that that's okay. This gets a hard no from me. And I think that as a community, we should speak up and give our thoughts about how we feel in a situation like this. This isn't it, guys. This isn't it. And I don't want to hate on the company. Like I said, their stuff sounds great. And when it does work, it is some of my favorite gear, period. But when it doesn't, it just doesn't. And this idea, this one shouldn't have made it past the ground floor. What I think you guys should do is you should lower the price of this unit, probably by about $500, make it $2,500, and include the subscription for free. Because there's also gonna inevitably be a plug-in version of this, right? That's gonna be inside their system. And then you'll probably be able to control it from there and then won't have to touch the actual unit. I'm just guessing here, knowing that Antelope has their own plugins and went that route. Yeah, I don't know much more to say about this, but I had to speak about it because it's just out of pocket for the future of audio. As somebody that likes hardware and loves plugins, I don't mind subscriptions when it comes to the plugin world because it makes sense and I understand. I'm not going to give the same grace for something in hardware like this, and I never will, and that's just where I stand on it. That's my thoughts. If you're an engineer on the come up, give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. You only have to do it one time. And tap that bell for notification, so when a video drops, you know the location. Till next time, my friends, I'll catch you later.